Did you know that the more time you spend on social media actually increases the likelihood that you will make an indulgent purchase? And it is my belief that materialism, as well as overconsumption, which is basically a part of materialism, is actually costing you more than you think. It could be costing you your soul. Hello, and welcome back to Meaningful Motivations with Tracy Erickson. And of course, if you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Tracy Erickson. In this video, I want to discuss the price of materialism and overconsumption, because the true price of these things is spiritual. In fact, it is my belief that materialism and overconsumption is a form of spiritual warfare. Spiritually speaking, it's simple, really. It is the goal of the beast system to keep your attention on physical things, physical possessions, and physical experiences. And as much as you put your attention on the physical, you are taking your attention away from the spiritual and from the voice of God. So that is why I see materialism and overconsumption as a form of spiritual warfare. Your attention is a hot commodity. It is worth more than gold. In fact, in 2024, marketing spending in the US surpassed $550 billion. And that is accounting for over half of the marketing revenues worldwide. And according to MediaMaxNetwork.com, companies spend an average of 12% of their revenue on marketing alone. The company known as Nike spent $1.63 billion in 1 year on just their marketing campaigns. So your attention is definitely worth something. All of that was mentioned just to say that your mental attention is so valuable, and you don't even know how valuable it really is, because I have some other stats for you as well. On average, people spend about 141 minutes a day on social media apps such as Facebook, Instagram, and X. And that translates to roughly 2 hours and 21 minutes of scrolling, chatting, and browsing. And on average, the average American spends more than 10 hours per day online. So imagine how many ads you see within that 10-hour period of time. And the average American spends about 294 minutes per day in front of the television. To be quite honest, I think the average American is literally brainwashed to simply consume, because the more you consume, the less you can create. And as a child of God, you should know that your greatest power is in what you can use your attention to create in this world. So if the beast system or the devil is real, then the devil would definitely love that we spend so much time staring into our black screens. Now I want to take you back to the original idea of this video, which is materialism and overconsumption. And the question that I posed at the very beginning was, did you know that the more time you spend on social media is actually increasing the likelihood for you to make indulgent purchases? And it is those indulgent purchases that are keeping people more and more bound to this culture of materialism and overconsumption. And it also gives an energy of keeping up with the Joneses. Because the more you look at social media, the more you see people's carefully curated lives. And it makes people think that they too need to have a similar aesthetic or a similar look in their life, right? So I want to go over a couple of things that I've been seeing in social media. I'm not a person who's generally on TikTok, but I do hear about some things that are going on TikTok. I am sure you guys have seen this Labubu trend that's been going on, especially on TikTok. And it is my belief that the more people share their unboxing of Labubus is simply causing more people to want to buy these Labubus. I don't even think they're cute. In fact, I think they're demonic. But let's take a look at what I mean.
Okay, never mind. I'll take it back. Energy that this is the secret, guys. That would be freaking amazing, honestly. Okay, there's the back. Wait, it feels really soft. Is this a secret? Okay, what the hell? No!
The Labubu is a plush toy that's all fuzzy and has a hard plastic face, some devilish looking teeth with a duper's delight smile. And I even think the Labubu's eyes look a little bit demonic as well, but hidden under cute packaging. Now, the Labubu is only a trend, all right? Because it is similar to the Furbies, the Tickle Me Elmos, and the Beanie Babies of the past. Here soon, the next best thing is going to come along, and then everyone is going to want to buy the next best thing. Speaking of that creepy little smile, it is also kind of interesting to me that this Labubu doll has that very demonic smile. It reminds me of the duper's delight. You know, the way someone who is lying will smile at you, and it's even unconscious. They don't even know they're doing it. But it's almost like this spirit of being evil that makes them happy. It is like the smile of all of the supervillains that you see in movies. So I do see a level of dupe going on here as well on the mass scale. Now, beyond the Labubu trend, which is all over social media, you will also see the influencers on apps like Instagram and TikTok who are literally pushing for people to have this overconsumption mentality. They literally make overconsumption look like a particular lifestyle that someone should aspire towards. For instance, family channels like the Doherty Dozens on TikTok, who have over 7 million followers, are constantly showing consumption at the highest level because they have so many children. In a lot of the content over there on that channel, it is all about packing the children's individual refrigerators full of snacks each and every week. Now, it's okay for kids to have snacks, don't get me wrong, but this is creating this image and lifestyle where your child should have their very own refrigerator customized, and that you should be stocking it with all their favorite snacks so that they can eat them on an unlimited basis for the entire week. It is just overconsumption at its finest. And I've also seen where this mother took her 7-year-old daughter on an absolute shopping spree for her 7th birthday. And again, don't get me wrong. I do think it's wonderful to buy children gifts for their birthday presents. But I also don't see why any child at the age of 7 has to have this much stuff for her 7th birthday.
Breakfast sandwich and a pink drink, and I got a salted caramel frappuccino. We were ready to do some more shopping. She found this Target dog Polly Pocket. What a cute collab. She looked around the Bluey section and picked out this Bluey ice cream shop playset. She wanted a doll and picked out this Annabelle one, and you can't have a new doll without doll accessories. So she got this nursery bundle, then went over to the Barbie aisle where she picked out Gymnast Barbie, Chelsea, and a Ken doll. She got a little live pet bird and a Feastables bar, and we checked out at Target. We went over to Eastview Mall into Claire's. I cannot believe they're shutting down. We spent a long time looking around in here. She found best friend necklaces, this Stitch brush that holds hair ties, a strawberry milk pom pail, pink sunglasses, and 2 more pom pails. She wanted the bumblebee one for herself and the frog one for her brother Bodie. How could I say no to that? Then she found this super soft pink axolotl stuffed animal and a mermaid plush. We checked out at Claire's and walked over to Miniso. There is so much to look at in this store, it's hard to narrow it down. She chose a blind bag, rainbow corn, little critters rabbit set, plus Bluey and Bingo figurines. And our last store for today was Showcase. She got this capybara in a bumblebee outfit, this skull panda, a squishmallow blind bag, and some glasses for her Labubu's. Then we headed home from her 7th birthday 7-store shopping spree. That's it for today. See you next time.
This particular family is only one example of many, many, many examples out there on social media where they are making materialism and overconsumption the main theme of their content. And that is really why consuming social media regularly is actually going to increase your risk of making indulgent purchases that you don't need to make. And when you make indulgent purchases that you don't need to make, you're really just keeping yourself stuck in this cycle of consumption and consumption and consumption. What would Jesus do in this situation? I'm pretty sure that the Bible told us what he would do in this situation. Matthew chapter 21, verse 12 and 13 says this: Jesus entered the temple area and drove out all those engaged in selling and buying there. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who were selling doves. And he said to them, "It is written, 'My house shall be a house of prayer,' but you are making it a den of thieves." That is in the part of the book of Matthew that is talking about the cleansing of the temple. And a temple, symbolically speaking, really is your mind and body. You, yourself, are the temple. All right? And when Jesus says, "My house shall be a house of prayer," a house is also very symbolic here, because a house, when you're reading about it in a Bible, or if you have a dream about a house, the house is going to represent your mind, because your mind is where your soul lives in the spiritual. So in the physical, a house is where your body lives in the physical. All right. So spiritually speaking, my house, my mind, is one of prayer, and it is not to be a den of thieves. Jesus is representing for us the Christ consciousness, which is the consciousness that makes us open for the Holy Spirit to come through so that we can be one with God and God's will. So when Jesus says that my house will be a house of prayer, but you're making it a den of thieves, he is recognizing that it is this money-changing system that was trying to take place. That is what is taking the attention away from God, away from the prayer, away from the Holy Spirit. Because when you see people selling things in the temple of God, then it's like trying to make your attention go from the inner life to the outer life. Does that make sense? Overconsumption in the form of materialism, which is the acquirement and purchasing of multiple physical material things for comfort and joy, is literally keeping you bound. It is keeping you stuck in the lower vibrations. That is what's keeping you in what they would call the 3D world, where you're literally a slave to your own finances. You're living in debt, likely overpaying interest rates on credit cards and bank loans and things like that, just to try to keep up with the endless desires of the material world. And the spiritual price of overconsumption is also a great price to pay. When you overconsume food, you get more and more entrapped in your physical body that fails you more and more. When you overconsume social media, then you are bringing your best commodity, which is your attention, and you're placing it on things that don't matter, that have no permanence. When you are over-consuming by scrolling endlessly on social media or endlessly watching TV, for instance, then you are missing out on the opportunity to connect with the Holy Spirit. You're missing out on the opportunity to experience this world through the actual temple that God gave you to experience it in. When you're constantly scrolling, you're only consuming, but you're never creating. And the thing about us humans is that we are creators, because it even says in the Bible that we were made in the image and likeness of our Creator. So that means that we are creators too. So if you spend all your time endlessly consuming by scrolling on the internet and social media and television, then you are never going to feel truly fulfilled, because you weren't placed on this earth to simply consume. You were placed on this earth to create. And the more hours you spend consuming, the less hours you can spend creating. I want to know your thoughts about the true spiritual price of materialism and overconsumption. So tell me your thoughts down in the comments section down below. And while you're there, don't forget to click the like button if you like this video. And you can be sure to subscribe if you have not already, and turn on the notifications bell if you want to be notified each and every time I upload a new video. Thank you all so much for being here and spending your time with me. I love you. And I'll see you next time. Bye.